Disrespect never hits you like a punch. It cuts you quietly, and the moment you ignore it, the game is already over. Most people think the way to handle it is to stay calm, be the bigger person, walk away, or give some fake motivational speech about not letting it get to you. But Machiavelli would laugh at that. Listen carefully. This is the part nobody ever teaches you. Disrespect is not just words. It's a public challenge to your power. And power, in his world and in ours, is brutally simple. You either command respect or you invite attack. There is no neutral zone. People are always moving you up or down in their mind. The reason most people keep getting disrespected is not because others are cruel by nature, but because they respond like victims, not rulers. They argue, they whine, they overreact, or they pretend it didn't hurt while their entire body screams insecurity. And predators can smell that. You've been taught your whole life that the moral way is to forgive, forget, and move on, as if that magically restores your position. It doesn't. Every time someone disrespects you and walks away without consequences, your value drops in their eyes and in the eyes of everyone watching. The world is not fair, and Machiavelli knew it. He understood that disrespect is a test, a probe, a way people measure how far they can go with you. Society tells you, be nice and people will treat you well. Reality says, show weakness and people will push further. The system wants you tame, emotionally soft, easy to step over. But the darkest way to handle disrespect is not to scream, not to fight blindly, not to beg for an apology. It is to see it for what it truly is, a move in a power game. You don't play that game with feelings, you play it with strategy. The person who reacts from ego loses. The person who responds from cold calculation wins. Machiavelli would tell you this. The goal is not to feel better. The goal is to make sure they think twice before ever crossing you again. That means no emotional outbursts, no desperate explanations, no chasing closure. It means reclaiming control in a way that quietly shifts the balance of power back to you. Handling disrespect isn't about peace, it's about position, and the ones who understand that own the room. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. This is where most people fail without even realizing it. Imagine two people who get disrespected in front of others. The first one laughs it off, forces a smile, says, "It's fine, I don't take it personally," and then goes home replaying it in their head, pretending it didn't bother them, while everyone around them quietly learns one thing: they can get away with it. The second person feels the same sting, but they understand the game. They don't explode, they don't argue, and they don't try to win the crowd. They file it away, watch, and wait. They respond like someone who understands leverage, not like someone desperate for approval. Then, at a moment of their choosing, they cut off access, remove favors, block opportunities, or respond in a way that hits where it actually hurts: reputation, resources, or relationships. Same insult, same moment of disrespect, but two completely different outcomes. One becomes an easy target, the other becomes someone people think very carefully before crossing again. Same disrespect, two different outcomes. Because one taught the world he's harmless, and the other taught the world he's expensive to disrespect. Now, here's the psychology behind disrespect that nobody wants to admit. Most people don't handle disrespect badly because they're weak. They handle it badly because they're addicted to comfort and terrified of conflict. Comfort kills more self-respect than any bully ever will. You've been trained to think that if you're kind enough or patient enough, people will eventually respect you. That's a lie. Machiavelli understood something far darker. People don't respect goodness, they respect consequences. Look at how you've probably reacted in the past. Someone crosses a line, makes a joke at your expense, talks over you, ignores you, mocks you in front of others. You feel the anger, the sting, the humiliation rise up in your chest. But then the excuses rush in even faster. Maybe they didn't mean it like that. I don't want to start drama. I'll look crazy if I say something. It's not worth it. You call that keeping the peace, but it's not peace, it's surrender. Each time you swallow disrespect, your mind tells you you've avoided danger, but in reality, you've just taught the other person that they can hurt you without consequence. Machiavelli would say, you've chosen the illusion of safety over the reality of power. And here's the brutal part. Humans test each other constantly, often without even realizing it. Here's the part almost everyone gets wrong. That sarcastic jab, that delayed reply, that subtle exclusion, that joke that cuts too deep. These are not random. They are probes, small attacks meant to see how much they can get away with. Every disrespect is a measurement. They're not joking, they're scanning. If you let them slide every time, you're not being chill, you're being mapped for weaknesses. Most people confuse staying calm with staying in control, but calm without boundaries is just quiet submission. You think, if I don't react, I win. But Machiavelli would disagree. Not reacting only works if your silence has consequences. If your lack of reaction convinces them they can disrespect you again, you didn't win anything. You just made the next attack easier. The darkest truth is this: people are driven by fear and desire. If they don't fear the cost of disrespecting you, and they desire the feeling of power they get from stepping on you, they will keep doing it. That's why nice people are disrespected the most. They make everyone feel safe, not because they're loved, but because they're harmless. The psychology of power says that every interaction either raises or lowers your perceived value. When someone disrespects you and nothing changes, no distance, no consequence, no shift in how you treat them, you've silently told them, you can do that again, and they will. So the real question isn't, why are people so rude? The real question is, what have I taught them about how they're allowed to treat me? Machiavelli would tell you that the person who controls the frame controls the relationship. If your frame is, I don't want problems, then you will always be the one people test, push, and talk over. If your frame is, disrespect has a price, people might not like you, but they will think twice. And in a world ruled by power, that hesitation is everything. Now, let's go even deeper and look at why this pattern is so deeply wired into you that you almost feel guilty for even thinking about responding with power. From the moment you were a child, you were trained to handle disrespect in the weakest way possible. Don't talk back, be nice. Ignore them, be the bigger person. Teachers, parents, and authority figures didn't teach you to defend your boundaries, they taught you to protect their comfort. You were rewarded not for strength, but for compliance. Sit still, smile, don't make a scene, accept unfairness quietly. That's not preparation for respect, that's preparation for submission. Machiavelli would smirk at this, because he knew systems are never built to empower the individual. They're built to keep order, to make you easy to manage. Think about how this script plays out over a lifetime. Imagine one man who follows it perfectly. As a boy, he gets bullied, and adults tell him, just ignore them. He does. As a teenager, his friends make jokes at his expense, and he laughs along so he doesn't kill the vibe. As an adult, his boss talks down to him, his partner dismisses his opinions, people interrupt him, talk over him, use him. And every time he feels that familiar burn in his chest, but the script kicks in. It's not worth it. I don't want drama. I'll let it go. Decades pass, and he becomes the guy everyone likes, but no one fears losing. He's pleasant, agreeable, and quietly resented by himself. Now imagine another man starting from the same place, same world, same early conditioning. But somewhere along the way, he realizes what Machiavelli knew, that being good without being respected is a trap. As a boy, he learns that when someone crosses a line, he doesn't have to throw punches, but he does have to respond by distancing himself, by refusing to play along, by calmly stating, "Don't do that again," and backing it up with action. As a young man, when friends disrespect him, he doesn't laugh it off. He stops showing up, stops giving them his time, his secrets, his loyalty. As an adult, when a boss disrespects him, he doesn't explode in the office, but he quietly builds an exit plan, networks behind the scenes, and when the opportunity comes, he leaves and takes his value with him. Over time, people learn something crucial. Crossing him has a cost. His life is not conflict-free, but it is filled with a different kind of peace, the peace that comes from being taken seriously. Same early programming, same world, completely different outcomes. One man follows the script and ends up surrounded by people who feel comfortable stepping on him. The other rewrites the script and ends up surrounded by people who may not always like him, but they respect him. The difference is not luck, not intelligence, but the willingness to break the conditioning that told you that silence is noble and reaction is childish. Machiavelli would say this plainly: controlled people never rise. If your entire system is built to avoid discomfort, you will always choose being liked over being respected. And in a brutal world, the ones who are merely liked are the first ones sacrificed when real power is at stake. Here's something almost nobody understands about respect. It doesn't come from being nice, it comes from being necessary and a little bit dangerous. You've been sold this idea that if you're endlessly understanding, endlessly forgiving, always calm, always polite, people will eventually appreciate you. But Machiavelli would tell you the opposite. People don't respect virtue without power behind it. They respect what they're afraid to lose. Look at how you've probably handled disrespect before. Someone talks to you like you're beneath them, cancels on you last minute, mocks you in front of others. You feel that sting, and instead of using it as a signal to change the relationship, you spend your energy trying to smooth things over. You explain yourself, you over-justify, you try to prove you're not upset. You give them more time, more access, more chances. In other words, you invest your emotional energy into keeping them comfortable rather than enforcing your own value. That's like pouring your money into a hole and hoping it turns into a house. Imagine two people who get the same amount of disrespect in a year. The first one spends all their energy on damage control, overthinking, venting, forgiving, letting it go, trying to keep everyone happy. The second one spends their energy building boundaries, deciding who gets access, who gets distance, and who gets cut off entirely. One ends the year exhausted, surrounded by people who take them for granted. The other ends the year with fewer people around them, but each one knows there's a line that cannot be crossed. Same world, same insults, completely different position. The brutal truth is this: most people say they want respect, but they actually want comfort and approval. Real respect requires you to risk being disliked. It means being willing to let people be upset with you, to walk away from circles where you're not valued, to say no without a long explanation. Machiavelli wrote that people are fickle and self-interested. They follow strength and exploit softness. If you project, "I just want everyone to be okay," you become the perfect target for disrespect because you've already revealed your weakness. You'll tolerate anything to avoid tension. But if your presence quietly communicates, "Disrespect has a cost with me," you shift the entire dynamic. You might not be the most liked person in every room, but you'll be the one people think twice before crossing. And in a world built on power, That hesitation is worth more than all the fake kindness in the world. Now, let's talk about the dark tactics, the Machiavellian way to handle disrespect when you're done playing the harmless, agreeable role. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold, but only the prepared, and disrespect is a battlefield, not a misunderstanding. The first tactic is simple but brutal. You do not react in the moment. When someone disrespects you, they're not just attacking your ego, they're scanning your weaknesses. If you explode, over-explain, or beg for clarity, you hand them a map to your soft spots. So you do the opposite. You stay still. You hold eye contact. You give short, controlled responses or none at all. On the outside, you look unbothered. On the inside, you are recording every detail. Silence is not surrender if it's loaded with future consequences. The second tactic: you do not punish with emotion, you punish with access. Machiavelli would tell you that power is not in the speech you give after the insult, it's in the doors you quietly close. Someone mocks you publicly? You don't launch into a dramatic monologue about respect. You stop answering their calls. You stop doing them favors. You stop sharing information. You stop giving them anything that makes their life easier or their status higher. You shift your energy and opportunities to others. No announcement, no grand statement, just a slow, cold removal of your value from their world. The third tactic is to strike where it matters, not where it started. If the disrespect happened in a joke, you don't waste time trading jokes. You go to the level above it. Reputation, alliances, resources. You make sure the people they care about, seeing them as strong, reliable, or valuable, start quietly noticing cracks. Maybe you highlight their unreliability with a calm comment at the right time. Maybe you redirect a chance they wanted to someone more loyal. You never start a war you can't survive, and you never fight head-on when you can win from the shadows. This is not about childish revenge. It's about teaching a rule. Disrespecting you comes with a cost they quietly feel in the areas that actually hurt. Most people shout, "You can't treat me like that," while nothing really changes. The Machiavellian way is darker and far more effective. You don't argue about your worth. You make life more difficult for anyone who forgets it. But the dark tactics don't stop there, because Machiavelli would tell you that it's not enough to answer disrespect once. You have to build a world where disrespect toward you is naturally rare and expensive. That starts with ownership. In money, the rich don't just work in other people's systems, they own their own. In power, it's the same. Stop showing up to everyone else's table begging for a seat, and start building your own table, your own circle, your own standards, your own spaces where you decide who enters and on what terms. When people know you don't need their invitation, their approval, or their validation, the tone shifts. The next tactic is to use desire the way Machiavelli said rulers should. People are driven by what they want and what they fear losing. Most people hand out their attention, time, and loyalty for free, then wonder why no one values it. The darker way is to make your access a reward reserved for those who treat you with respect, and to let anyone who disrespects you feel the cold of losing it. You don't have to scream, "I'm cutting you off." You simply stop giving warmth, information, support, or proximity. Humans crave feeling important, so you quietly invert the game. Respect becomes the price of admission to your world. Then you build systems, not emotional reactions, to protect that standard. Instead of deciding case by case what to tolerate, you set internal rules. If someone mocks me twice, they lose access. If someone lies to me, they're out. If someone talks down to me publicly, they don't get private closeness. These are like silent security systems around your dignity. Once installed, they trigger automatically, without you needing long debates with yourself. Each time you enforce one, your reputation compounds. People begin to understand, consciously or not, that there's a line with you that doesn't move. And this leads to one of the darkest yet most powerful principles of Machiavellian respect: appearance. He wrote that men judge more by what they see than what they know, and in the realm of disrespect, this is deadly accurate. You might not feel strong inside, you might be shaking after someone crosses you, but what they see must be control. No desperate explaining, no nervous laughter, no flustered rambling. Your body language, your tone, your pace all say one thing: I heard that, I won't forget. You can be uncertain inside and still present a calm, unfazed surface. The more you practice this, the less people read you as prey. But here's the part most people never prepare for. Once you start moving like this, once you stop being the easy target and start being the person whose boundaries have teeth, you will attract a different kind of attention. Some people will respect you more, others will resent you. They'll say you've changed, that you're cold, arrogant, difficult. They'll test you harder, trying to pull you back into the old role where you were easy to step on. This is where many break. They panic and rush back into being overly nice, over-explaining, over-apologizing just to keep the peace. Machiavelli would call that a ruler who gained a fortress and then opened all the gates at the first sign of complaint. The dark way is to hold your line even when it makes people uncomfortable. You don't chase them. You don't argue about your new standards. You let them leave if they can't handle it, and you accept the loss. Because the truth is brutal. You cannot be deeply respected and universally liked at the same time. To be respected, you must be willing to be misjudged, talked about, even quietly hated by those who benefited from your old weakness. And that's the final layer of the Machiavellian approach to disrespect. You are not trying to win everyone. You are building a life where the people around you understand one unspoken law. Crossing your boundaries is dangerous to their comfort, their access, and their ego. Once that law is in place, you don't have to keep fighting for respect. The fights come to you less and less, and a different kind of peace settles in, the kind that only belongs to those who are no longer safe to disrespect. So, what's the end game of handling disrespect in this dark, Machiavellian way? Why go through the discomfort, the backlash, the judgment of being too harsh? It's simple. Peace. But not the weak peace you get from avoiding conflict. The hard-earned peace that comes from knowing people think twice before crossing you. Most people chase a fake peace built on silence and swallowed anger. They ignore the jab, they laugh off the insult, they pretend the humiliation didn't sting, and they call that maturity. But inside, they're at war with themselves, replaying every scene, wishing they'd said something, done something, been someone different. Machiavelli would call that the misery of a ruler who cannot rule his own borders. The real goal of this darker approach is not constant war with others, it's the opposite. Building such a clear, consistent pattern of consequences that war becomes unnecessary. When people know your time isn't cheap, your attention isn't guaranteed, your loyalty isn't unconditional, they become careful with how they speak to you, how they treat you, how far they push. That's when your life starts to change quietly. Conversations feel different, rooms feel different, relationships feel different, not because everyone suddenly became kind, but because you stopped being safe to disrespect. The reward isn't that everyone loves you, it's that the ones who stay around you bring a basic level of seriousness, honesty, and restraint. You wake up with fewer pointless arguments, fewer lingering resentments, fewer nights replaying scenarios in your head. You move through the world knowing that if someone crosses a line, you won't have to debate with yourself for hours about what to do. You already know the cost they'll pay. That's the real prize. not dominance for its own sake, but a life where your boundaries are understood without endless explanations. In a world where most people accept disrespect as the price of being liked, you will have something rare, quiet, heavy, undeniable respect. So what does acting on all this look like in your real life, not just in theory? First, you choose one internal rule that becomes non-negotiable. You decide what disrespect is for you: talking over you, mocking you in front of others, dismissing your opinions, raising their voice at you, and you promise yourself that from now on, those things never go back to normal once they happen. Second, you train your first response. Instead of defending, explaining, or trying to fix their mood, you go still. You let the moment land. You respond briefly or not at all, and you give yourself space to think instead of reacting from ego. You can say, "Noted," or "We're not doing that," and then shut your mouth, because silence is often more powerful than a speech. Third, you punish with access, not drama. You stop oversharing with people who mock you. You stop doing favors for people who embarrass you. You stop prioritizing people who cancel on you. You stop giving emotional intimacy to anyone who treats you as optional. No big announcement, just a quiet, consistent shift in who gets your time, energy, and effort. Fourth, you build leverage. You improve your skills, your network, your independence, so you're never trapped in a job, relationship, or social circle where you have to swallow disrespect to survive. Machiavelli would say, "A prince without alternatives is a slave to anyone who feeds him," and the same is true for you. Options are armor. Fifth, you accept the brutal tax of real respect. Some people will call you cold, dramatic, selfish, or difficult when you stop letting them step on you and you resist the urge to convince them otherwise. You let them misunderstand you, and you keep your standards anyway. Most people will hear this and nod, then go right back to laughing off insults and over-explaining themselves to people who don't care. But if you apply it, even in small ways, a shorter reply here, a cancelled favor there, a quiet exit from a disrespectful circle, you'll feel the shift start. Less anxiety before conversations, less replaying every interaction in your head, and a growing sense that, for the first time, you're not begging for respect, you're enforcing it. Let me give you a vision of what happens when you truly live this way. When you stop treating disrespect like an accident and start treating it like a line that cannot be crossed. Imagine walking into a room and not wondering, "Will they like me?" but knowing, "They know better than to play with me." Imagine conversations where you don't rehearse replies in your head beforehand, because you trust yourself to handle anything that happens without falling apart. Imagine friendships and relationships where people may not always agree with you, but they weigh their words. They think before they joke at your expense. They remember your standards without you having to repeat them. You wake up with fewer apologies to craft, fewer messages to overthink, fewer nights replaying humiliating moments you let slide. You move through the world lighter but sharper, knowing that your time, your attention, and your presence are not charity, they're currency, and you no longer give them to people who spend them recklessly. Machiavelli would say that a prince who cannot inspire a little fear will never hold his throne. In your life, that simply means this: if people are never a little afraid to lose you, they will never fully respect you. So here's the dark truth burned down to its core. Handling disrespect the Machiavellian way is not complicated. It is brutally simple. You teach the world how to treat you by what you allow, what you reward, and what you walk away from. The only question left is, are you willing to pay the price for that kind of respect?